you're here. What's going on? I was honestly so blinded by like an older boy. He was on the football team. He was on the track team. He liked me. I was a cheerleader. I was like living in this High School Musical fantasy and I did not care, I guess. I don't know. Him choosing to have sex with a bunch of people but me did mess me up for a very long time. But it also made me hold on to my V card very tight and I was gonna decide when I gave it up. I could easily do a part 2, but I think I've embarrassed myself on the internet enough.
Are we referring to the Saturday night where you came to my house after, slept in my bed, made out with me, asked me to suck your dick, and begged me to get back together with you and told me you were gonna block her if I did? Is that the Saturday night we're referring to? Cool.
I'm 18 years old and I've never had a boyfriend. I've never kissed anyone. I've never even Snapchatted someone romantically. For a minute there, I thought I was like asexual or aromantic.
Mommy, but like, why would you say that? I had other remarks as well, but that was the only one that really stood out to me. But eventually the food comes and y'all, he ate 90% of the thing I ordered. You could tell I was pissed off too because I was starving and I wasn't even trying to hide the fact that I was hungry. And his excuse was like, oh, well, like, you know, I know you're on your gym grind, so this food is like not good for you. Like, I don't think you should be eating it. I could have just left, but again, I was just not good at standing on business, so I was just
all the weird shit that happened, and he's like, so what are you gonna do? And I said, I think I'm just gonna like stop being friends with her. I don't really know what other choice I do have, because the entire time I was looking back on it and I was like, I remember this going missing, I remember that going, like, it was all makeup stuff, but she didn't wear makeup, so I was like, it couldn't have been her where my shit was just, but she was the only person ever at my house. Literally nobody was ever at my house. And all of us shared a friend group. My dad was like, you can't just go around telling everybody the reason why you're not friends with her anymore because you don't know for 100% if she's a thief or not. And I...
Story time about the girl who tried to talk me into doing the nasty with her dad. Literally. So a little background information. 2 months before this whole situation, I had met her through one of my friends at a party. She was really funny, really nice. We're gonna call this girl Jessie. So when my friend and I left the party, I had asked her about Jessie, and she was like, oh, I wouldn't really hang around her. She's just like a really weird person. Now, I didn't really take my friend's word for it, mainly because in the past, my friend has gotten really jealous whenever I've started hanging out with other people. To go south, like for part 2. Part 2 to my most recent toxic best friend story time. Little background information. I told him the reason why I didn't want to talk anymore was because I just didn't want a relationship. So we get to the party, and him and his friends were there, so she went over to them. And I went and talked to other people because I just didn't want it to be awkward. Well, an hour later, we all met up again, and I started having a conversation with him. Well, I guess my best friend didn't like that, so she started embarrassing me in front of everybody. So she started...
For you, this was in year 8 or 9, so like... I was probably 14, 15. And I went to this all-girls school in Melbourne. And I had, like, a really good group of friends at this time. And so there was 3 buildings, like 3 main buildings. And one of the buildings was 3 or 4 stories tall. I'm pretty sure it was 3 stories, but, like, I could be wrong. And, like, because me and my friends were so cool, we used to sit in this building. We used to sit on, like, the 2nd or 3rd level. Like...
They tryna be. They tryna be. She wanna be. They bitches rip my wig off, so my mugshot is just me with no wig, with just glue and braids, and it looked a mess. Like you could tell when the person was taking my picture, he was like, you wanna, you know what? Just stay still. Like he could. I'm like, I know. Like I know. It was terrible. Anyway, my friend, the girl who was recording. Mind you, time out. Let me tell y'all, the girl that was recording was not the girl who...
Adult is touching an underage boy, and she calls his mom, tells her what happened. So my boyfriend and I broke up, so that spread around the whole school, and word got out that they actually started seeing each other. Crazy story time about how my sister and I found out that we were hooking up with the same guy. So I was a freshman, my sister was a sophomore, and there was this really cute guy in her grade that I liked. but I could never find a way to talk to him because we weren't in the same grade and had none of the same classes. And my sister and I were not close at all. So school starts, I end up becoming friends with all of her friends, and my sister's really good friends with this one boy. But she had always said that she never liked him like that. So she introduced us, him and I started talking, and we both ended up liking each other. Like for part 2. Part 2 about why my sister is probably worse than yours. So like I said, my sister and I start school, I become friends with her friends, and she introduces me to this guy that she's been best friends with for a while. Him and I end up talking, I really like him, he really likes me, and my sister would always hype me up. She would be like, oh my god, you should get with him, he's a
older. No, maybe you just got it confused. Like, obviously, sometimes people make mistakes, everything's all cool, because that's her younger brother. She had 2 younger brothers, and no older siblings. She was the oldest. And he's like, no, her older brother. She's got 3 older brothers and then also 2 youngers. He's like, what? So you mean to tell me that this isn't her older brother? Let me see. And then he was trying to find, also this is on a call, on an Instagram call. So he was trying to find through their WhatsApp chat a picture of him. How can he send me?
and we're good now, but here we go with another toxic best friend story time. So a little background information. So a couple of years ago, I became best friends with this one girl who we're going to call Sammy. Every year her family would go on a camping trip, and every year I couldn't go. Something would always come up even if it was last minute. Well, this year finally nothing was standing in the way so I could go on this freaking camping trip, and we had literally been planning this for like 6 months. So this plan was we would go up there and
As friends, we all got in there and we're just sitting, chilling, you know. And then we figure out, we put 2 and 2 together, that they don't lock this supplies elevator. Meaning we can press the buttons at any willing time and go up or down. So we all took it in turns going in this supplies elevator, going up and down, up and down. And so we tricked the other girls that were in there that they got stuck. We're like, oh no, like it won't move. Oh no, blah, blah, blah. And then we just let them up and they got out. So then it makes
see me. And I think I forgot to mention a few red flags. All of my friends told me that Robert had an ex-girlfriend of 4 years that he was absolutely in love with. But that wasn't the worst one. He told me that he was never going to get over his ex and that he was always going to want to be with her. And then he asked me to be his girlfriend 2 days later. And we're going to call her Lucy. Well, I posted a few TikToks and Lucy's best friend Ellie commented on my TikToks, like for part 3. Part 3 about why you should stay away from guys who had just gotten out of a long-term relationship. Like I said, I posted some anything, you know, like I really love you, I'm trying to change. And he said that literally every night. And his brother worked with him. Well, the one day he really pissed his brother off, so his brother was like, I'm telling her everything that you've been doing. So he calls me and says he's been fucking 2 other girls at work. Like for part 2. Part 2 about my cheating boyfriend. So after I got off the phone, he's trying to convince me that it's not true, saying that the only reason why his brother would say that is because he was mad at him, which
know what she was thinking, I know what I want to see. Bust that pussy open, then I tell her bring it back.
I don't think it was the date that was bad. I think it's what happened on the date that was bad. Do you know what? The more I tell these stories, the more that I realise my life is a shambles. Anyway, so I'm going on a date. I'm going to the mailbox. If you're from Birmingham, you know where the mailbox is. And I decided to get one of them ponytails from Lullabells. Anyway, moving on. I attached the ponytail to my head top. It's bare tight. It feels nice. I look nice. I'm walking down the steps. For those of you that don't know what the mailbox is, as you...
I wanted to, like, my siblings, my little sibling, but luckily my dad believed me, and yeah. And the last thing I got in trouble for is telling him that I was happier at my mom's house, and that got me kicked out the house. The full story time is pinned on my page. Let me know if you think these are strict rules or not. Yeah, guys, thanks for watching.
Get ready with me while I talk about some insane things I did in middle school when I was...
Real quick, tell my sister I want to go home, like for part 3. Part 3 of how I got my boyfriend arrested for cheating on me. So I get home and I text the girl whose party it was, and she had no idea what happened. So I was just like, oh, it's Millie blah blah blah's girlfriend. And she's like, yeah, but they're off and on all the time. He has a new girlfriend like every other week. So at that point, I block him on everything and I just go to sleep. Well, the next day I wake up and my sister and Millie are in my room. And I'm like, oh shit, here's a fucking intervention. But plot twist, my sister's
Like, I know they didn't just grow legs and walk away. And she starts looking real weird, real suspicious type beat weird. She's like, oh, like, you might not need my help to find them. Like, I'm sure that they'll just show up. I gotta pee. I'm gonna leave. And then she literally gets up, and walks downstairs and sits in my kitchen. She doesn't even go pee. I walk downstairs. I see her sitting at the kitchen table. I said, girl, did you even go pee? She said, oh, no, I forgot. I really have to go pee. And then she literally never pissed. Now I'm starting to get like a weird little...
to up the park without a leash because they were running around. Then this guy, he came up to him and he was like, you shouldn't have your dogs off this leash. It's like not safe and they could attack my kid or whatever. So he was like, okay, yeah, I'll go leave. So then he left and that person got his license plate number and he wrote a complaint to the police officer. And my mom was just getting so mad at him and she was just like... it's a public school park, like, it's fine. And then when my
run in the house when they're both upstairs. But my pap was looking outside trying to figure out why the light went on. And then I hear him say, oh, it must have just been a deer. So my sister finally texts us like 5 minutes later that, they're both upstairs. And I waited so I couldn't see them in the window anymore. And we bolted in the house. And I ran in the bedroom and we both smelled disgusting. Because we were both laying on the grass outside. When we get in, we lock the door so that way we can change our clothes, act like we're going to sleep, and then unlock the door. And my grandma comes down.
If you even like the video for all I care, please stay and listen to the story, because when I tell you it literally happened last night, I need more opinions to make sure that I'm not in the wrong, okay? Okay, so last night I was mindlessly on the phone with my boyfriend, like minding my own business, and my friend, we're gonna call him Jay, alright? He called me. At first I was like, I can't really call right now. I'm on the phone with my boyfriend, so I'll just talk to you tomorrow.
I think it's mad sus how you cut her off when your girlfriend's the problem. So obviously Josh texted him and said, what do you mean? And her brother was like, she hits me up all the time to hang out. We've been hooking up. I can even send you the nudes that she sent me. And before I started dating Josh, there was this boy that I was talking to for like 6 months and I ended up sending him nudes. And yes, they got around the school. But surprisingly, Josh had no idea about them. So her brother sent Josh the nudes and said, bro, here, like, see her face is in it and everything. Lesson learned, don't put...
Hey, it's me.
...shit to help students that are being bullied. Story time about how this boy stabbed me with a pencil in kindergarten. So a little background information, I was 6 years old and in kindergarten, obviously. I'm not gonna lie, this story kind of shows that it doesn't matter how old a child is, they can literally still be very mean and yeah. Well, during the middle of the school year, there was this new kid who came to our class and his name was Freddie. Now, Freddie coming in the middle of the year was kind of sad because everybody already had their friends. They didn't really want to talk to the new kid. And what made it even more...
I went downstairs, I went outside, and I saw my friend. I was like, where's my stuff? Because, like, I didn't have nothing with me. Like, when I was sent to the office, I didn't have nothing with me. I didn't have my phone, my headphones, my backpack. I didn't have nothing. So, I was like, where's my stuff? And he was like, oh, our other friend put it in the office. So I had to go all the way back upstairs to get my stuff. And then when I was walking up the stairs, when I got into the hallway that we were arguing in, there was like a bunch of teachers crowded around. I'm pretty sure these were the teachers who were watching what happened. And
get ready with me while I do a story time on how I found out my old substitute teacher that got arrested for following girls after school and giving them alcohol was following me on social media. I don't really know if I should be talking about this on the internet, but I'm going to anyways because this is a good one. This was in 8th grade, just to preface. This was kind of a long time ago, but I never shared this story on here and I definitely want to. Just to start out, like, I really only had this substitute.
True. Now remember, never lie because it's very dangerous, okay?
Okay.
Brianna, has Jake came to school yet?
My boyfriend Jake? No, I haven't seen him yet.
Hey, baby.
Jakey!
Are we still on for our date tonight?
Of course.
Jake, you were so funny. It's just like you could get any girl in the world and you chose Brianna. Anyways, I gotta go. I'll see you later, babe.
Okay, bye, Jakey. Hey, Emma. Do you have a crush on my boyfriend?
Out the doggy door because the people that were buying his house hated animals. Well, the people who had just bought his house, they ended up moving in before he could take out the doggy door. So our new neighbors asked us if we could put like a piece of plywood in front of the door so that way our dog couldn't get through. And they said that they would do the same to their side of the fence. So my dad said, yeah, he put a piece of plywood in front of there. Well, my dog, Gabe, the one night that my brother let him out, he ended up getting the plywood off of the doggy door. Well, my brother literally had to, and she has her AirPods in so I couldn't hear who it was. And she was like, okay, I'll be there in 5 minutes. And when I asked her where she was going, she wouldn't tell me. Well, she left her phone at my house. And because she usually tells me everything, I thought that something sus was going on. So I went through her phone. And I see that she's been texting this guy Jay a lot. And as I'm going through their conversation, there's one text that says, I don't care if she finds out. Just sneak over to my house while you're there. So I check the phone numbers and obviously it's my boyfriend. And her parents are really strict, like she was only...
Yeah, 3 years ago. So I have one brother that is younger than me and one stepsister. My family is quite like family orientated, so when I met my boyfriend, he's always, you know, went out of his way to really try and get close to like my parents and like my brother, you know, because we're just like family orientated. I've always like gone...
Grandpa was divorced with my grandma because my grandma decided she was lesbian at like 50. Anyway, but he was an absolute D-head. I never knew like growing up how much of a he was, but now I do. So he lived in Florida, so we like never saw him, but when we did I was like hyped because I just wanted to go to Florida, and he like belonged to a nice ass country club, and like somehow like he had money. It was definitely like from fraudulent shit, but like
It was bubble gum, so I had to chew it.
Taste me how to good. Taste me how to good.
talking to this kid, and I bumped into her at homecoming and basically apologized. So after that, we became best friends. And everything was good until every time I told her about a guy, she would start talking to them. Like this one boy that I was Snapchatting and talking to, she accidentally sent nudes to him and said, oh, sorry, I meant to send them to my boyfriend. So then she called one of my other best friends and said, no, it actually wasn't an accident. And of course he told me because he was my best friend.
And just asked her, hey, like, why? Her excuse was, oh my gosh, you know, I was stalking his page late last night to make sure like there was no girls. I was just trying to be a good friend to you, and I must have accidentally liked his selfie. I'm a little delusional over here, and I believed her because she was my best friend. Oh, trust me, it's about to get way worse. I would always go to my job at a certain time. Like, my schedule has always been the same since I started there. And my boyfriend at the time would always bring me lunch. He told me he was craving Chipotle and he was gonna bring...
She's on my stepdad's side. She's really young. So they look up and my aunt's just like drunk as fuck looking at me. And she's like, do you want to join? Like, bitch, what the fuck? So I'm just like shook and I start screaming. Everybody rushes up the stairs and my mom pushes me out of the way and sees my boyfriend and my aunt laying on my bed with their shirts off. So my mom starts screaming at everybody. So my mom calls the cops, says that, and so I text him and he's like, sorry, I forgot. So I'm really sad right now, but I forgave him. Quick note here, ladies, if he wanted to, he would have canceled his plans if he really wanted to see you. Anyway, so I move and fast forward 2 to 3 weeks, and Alex and I literally have only been texting, no calls, nothing like that. So I'm talking to one of his friends, and one of his friends tells me that he's been talking to this other girl, and he's been telling everybody that he's been wanting to break up with me for weeks because he wants to date her instead, like for part 3. Part 3 about so within the last few weeks of my 8th grade year, one of the more popular boys asked me out, and we're gonna call him Carson. I wasn't like super popular at the school, but I was like a medium maybe. But I was raised in a super strict household, where the only phone that I pretty much had was one that was able to call 911 and my parents. And I especially was not allowed to be talking to boys. So Carson had the great idea of giving me his old phone, and throughout the summer I would text him on there. Well, I started realizing him getting really toxic. Anytime that he would
says to me, Abby told me that she told you she was in love with you for like the last 5 years, and you laughed in her face and called her disgusting. And this girl made all the teachers hate me. My teachers hated me. My best friends hated me. Everybody hated me. Everybody thought that I was this homophobic asshole, which was not the case at all whatsoever. And can you believe that I still didn't tell anybody that this bitch was klepto and was stealing my shit for the last 6
outside. And after that, everything stopped. Except he would still be outside every single morning on his fucking porch watching me. So the one night while I'm sleeping, I wake up to some noise right outside my window. And my bed was on the same wall as the window, so I could see who was right outside my window, but they couldn't see me. Well, I look, and guess who the fuck it is? It's Mac trying to get inside of my fucking window. So I quietly call my dad, and it's like 3 a.m. So I tell my dad what's going on. So he goes outside and nobody's there. Well, the next day we check the cameras.
Because I was off college and off work for a substantial amount of time. And I'm paying for my stuff at the till, and I hear, oh my God, Malika. So I'm thinking, who, first of all, is screaming out my government name like this? Not that I'm wanted by the police or anything, but I'm thinking, who is that? And I look up, and it's the girl that I used to go to school with. So I'm like, oh my God, hey, like, long time, how's everything? We're having a proper catch up. And she's like, oh, I heard what happened to you. Like, I'm so sorry. And I'm there like,